Episode 2, and we're going to start with some cock-ups. Battery exhausted, she said. I'm fucking exhausted. Right, everyone, welcome back. It's episode 2. Let me just momentarily check that Dave is looking at what I want. Are you on the ball, Dave? What am I fucking paying you for? Right, here we go. We've got to make the neck for our Frankenstrat. You're all looking forward to this. I'm going to show you how I mill it up, some thoughts, and then really this episode is going to be to do with the fretwork because we're going from start to finish, new frets in a neck. So I thought we'll just document that in detail and the rest of it we'll just do in other series. I don't include everything in every video. I was going to make this neck out of quilted maple and I got quite far. I wanted to do this inlay stripe, which I've done on other guitars. Works a treat on angled headstocks because that stops at the nut. This one, because it's a Fender style, you can see this big fat stripe here. And that looks, in my opinion, bollocks. The other thing that didn't go well is the fact that I had to resaw this to get that veneer in, and so I could use a standard, and so I could get my truss rod top mounted and not do a skunky stripey. I lost a lot of wood doing that, even though I had a veneer to put in. I've got 24.63. I like to have 26 mil of finished neck after I've done my fretboard. So I'm a little bit thinner than I like to be. We're still within the realms of a Fender neck. Some telly necks are that thickness, but we're not where I want. In fact, I like to manufacture a neck up to about 27 so that when everything is done before I radius the fretboard, I can put it back on the joiner and I can just tickle that bottom and get it dead flat, because I want to make sure after you glue everything up, things move and have a little bit of a wobble, don't they? So you need to give yourself tickle room, shall we say? Leave yourself a bit of tickle room. That is, everything I say could go on a t-shirt, innit? If you want to walk around looking like a twat, there's links below. You can buy a t-shirt. So I'm going to take this apart, get the truss rod out for another day and bin the fucker off. That's firewood now. That's a shame, innit? That's like a 40, 50 pound neck blank in the wind. So we are going to go, I had a choice of maples downstairs, but we're going to go with my fave, which is bird's eye maple. I love a bird's eye maple neck. In all honesty, it's a bit of a twat to work with, but we've got new blades on everything. It likes to chip out and go a bit bananas. So I'm going to cut myself a nice bit of lumber. I am then going to take, I've got loads of this downstairs. I've got enough for about 20 necks. So I'm going to cut myself a nice bit of lumber, and then this piece I'm going to mill into 2 fretboard blanks, basically. Give myself loads of room. Don't fuck around. I like to have a thicker neck bottom and then just a couple of mil of fretboard on the top. We should be fairly seamless because we're using it out of the same blank, and this is all out of the same plank. Here is my neck. I've widened the end of my truss rod opening. So that is what I'm doing. I'm going to get this milled up. We're going to come back when the neck looks a little bit like that. I'll do some montage-y bits of putting it through machines and routing and stuff, just to get your juices flowing. And then I'll see you back here on the bench when we're like that. We'll cut some fret slots, and then we'll seat our frets in, and we'll go from there. Oh, I'm not even gonna include inlays in this one.
3 days later.
Right, we're moving on with this project, everyone, and we've got to fret this neck. All right, I've cut it. This is where we are. I've done some inlays. I told you I was going to do that. I've done a few bits and bobs. We're looking very bird's eye mapley, aren't we? We've got to put frets in. The client, and I should be better prepared, Mark Shepard, has sent me some stainless steel fret wire. Well, he sent me some fret wire. It has got no markings on it, and that means there is no fucking chance I'm using it, because I don't know anything about it. Mark, it might be wonderful, but I'm sending it back to the Americas with you because that's alarm bells. I use Jescar fret wire. This stuff here, and it's amazing. It's really consistent. It's just lovely gear. And I have also got stainless fret wire. So we're going to go with stainless because that's posh. I never used to be sold on stainless fret wire, but the last 2 I've done that have had stainless, they do feel so different. It's weird. I can't. Highly polished metal to 8,000 grit, whether it's stainless or your normal nickel stuff, it should feel the fucking same, but it don't. I've just dyed that, and it's stinking in here. I'm off my tits, all right? So I might lose it in a minute. So I've pre-cut these to girth, and they're ready to go. Normally, when you radius fret wire, in fact, I've got a bit here. Normally, when you radius fret wire, you radius it a way bigger radius than here, and it will just tap in nice and flatten in. Stainless steel is a bit of a bastard because it will not be manipulated, all right? This is basically pretty bang on. It's a little bit over radius, but not a lot. I've just got to nip the tangs, and you've got to do a little bit at a time with the stainless. The reason I'm doing that, I will show you. And so this one I've basically filled. I don't like having the metal tang showing at the bottom. I think it looks a bit naff. Sorry, Fender. So I like to fill it with timber. I like to actually fill it with timber that's a different colour to the neck wood. So you've got like little nice slots there made of wood. Stops it from, stops fret sprout and all that sort of stuff. It's much easier to get a really nice finish. So that's what we're going to do. Once we've nipped the tangs, come over here, Dave. Are you looking at that, Dave? Got to get out my trusty file, my calico. I do love a calico file, very posh. You've got to get him on there, right? And we've just got to just file the underside of that one flat. Right, I don't know if you can see that. I'm normally shit at this. I need to change this camera to not autofocus. I'll look into that. It's only been fucking 2 years, isn't it? I'm hell of a good. Top brass. Right, so that one there. And then what we'll do, I'm coming in the back of Dave. I should put my funky glasses on, really. We'll get him on there, look. Either end. Tap him in. Can you see that, Dave? Can you see it? So we should be seated nicely there, all right? Without having to press anything in for a minute. Whew, there you go. That's exciting, isn't it? Now, I've got to do that for another 20 frets. So I'll get on with that. I'll cut the cameras because it's fucking boring. It is boring. I'm going to do that 22 times up there, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the next stage, and we'll go through this fret job and I'll show you everything I'm going to do, some pitfalls, what you need to look out for, because it's not that scary, but it is more. When you buy a production guitar, they've tapped it in like that and they have fucked it off. That is done. Tap them in. Maybe check it with a fret rocker if it's a £300 beast, but nothing's getting leveled. And we are going to go above and beyond. These are going to be perfect, and I will show you how to do it. I'll see you in a second when the frets are all in. Lovely jubbly. Right, we're all in. We're tapped in. Everything is seated. It's all looking rather pleasant. Out comes the overpriced fractal fret press. And I'm just quickly going to whip through now, and this just makes sure that everything is seated. And you'd think that this would be it, and it would all be perfect. But it rarely is. Lovely. Now at this point, we can visually inspect and make sure everything's looking nice down there. We've got no massive gaps. Everything's seated. Here is some of the sticking points that people will fuck up, and you will fuck it up. Where's me not straight edge? Just because the slots have to be tight, just the act of pressing these frets in, that's dye, by the way, which I found out that Crimson Stunning Stains, alcohol-based, melt rubber gloves. So don't put rubber gloves on. I haven't been fingering fucking otters, all right? So calm yourselves down. That is just giving us a bit of a back bow. It's unavoidable. It's nothing you've done wrong. So you're going to have to adjust your truss rod now and straighten your neck out. It's only a tiny bit, but obviously we've spread it out, haven't we? Incidentally, when I make necks with fall-in headstocks, so I've got a 40mm chunk, it doesn't do that. Almost immeasurably, which is just as well because the truss rod won't adjust a neck that thick either. That's it. We just need a little tweak. It's a fender neck. It's still, we can manipulate it. That's fine. Now, you can check these with your rocker and you will have some cheeky rocks. We've got a dead flat neck. We've got a dead flat fretboard. We've got brilliant fret wire from Jescar. There's inconsistencies in every layer, right? That you imperceivable, and you are not going to get perfection. I've got a rock here. It's not massive, but it is a rock. So at this point, now because I've used a fractal fret press and everything is really well seated. If you have got a rock, more than likely it's just a small inconsistency in the fret wire. You're not going to avoid doing a fret level and recrown. You might get lucky every now and again. And I'll say it over and over again. If you play with a 2mm action, these little discrepancies won't matter a fuck. But if you want a low action, and I believe every guitar that's made should be made with the capability to play, to cater for any player. See, these are all pretty good. Now, if you notch too much from the end of your fret wire, if you take too much from there, and it becomes very, very difficult to get the ends to stay down, all right? If you get one that springs out because you've hit it too hard in the middle, you're fucked, all right? Take the fret wire out, cut a new one. So only cut down the ends. Now, the interesting thing here, see we've got our slots. I'm going to fill them with some contrasting wood. I'm happy with that now. I'm going to glue these frets in, and that's a simple little process with a bit of CA glue. The watery shit, all right? But before I do that, I'm going to fill the ends of these fret slots because it's I'm quite sexy. What colour should we use? Let's use some contrast. Let's go for a bit of fucking contrast. So I've got a random bag of venereal in here. Bit of mahogany, that'll do. Now, I'm actually nicking this from cheaper guitars. A lot of them use this process. I'm just going to mark the depth of that slot. And I'm going to cut a strip of this. Fortunately, this is a very serious episode, isn't it? Build series, they are serious. Some things you've got to take seriously. You haven't. Don't take any of it seriously. Have a fucking laugh. But I am off my tits from all the fumes. Now, fret slots are 0.55 millimeters, 0.55, which is 11 milliqueefs. Most venereals are about 0.5 or 0.6. So you'll find that you can cut this and then it should just stick in that hole perfectly, all right? It's made for it. And I'm going to do that all the way up. So doing it this way, you're not going to have invisible slots. We're making a feature of the slots. Some might like it, some might not. You might want to use a bit of the same maple, but we haven't got binding. I don't want metal showing, and this is a nice little way. It's just an alternative way of doing it. Right, and we're pretty much full there. All our slots are full. It's made a bit of a feature of it. Now all I'm going to do before I shut up shop for the evening is CA glue the shit out of everything. Watery CA glue, and all you've got to do here is going to wick. So I'm just going to let it wick. Once you've done that, we'll turn it over, go the other way. And then because we've done that on the ends, you'll find that a lot of that will wick in there, but marvellous. There's not too much on the fretboard. I'm happy with that. That is just going to dry now overnight. I'm going to hang it up. It's all done and dusted, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, which will be instantaneous for your lazy ass. And we'll do the next bit, a bit of filing, a bit of love making, and a fret level recrown and polish on stainless. Oh, the holy grail. And it's going to be delicious because we're going to touch it with the fertilizer, and I might well be naked. I'll see you in the morning.
Early the next morning.
Testing, fucking shagger. Right, we're back in. It's the next day. I don't know if I put a little meme in there. I might have the next day. I've try not to overuse that bullshit. But anyway, digressions. We've got to move on with this neck. Here's one that I've done earlier. It's not this neck, but you'll see pretty much what we're aiming at. It's fucking exciting, isn't it? This is glued overnight. It's all looking rather pleasant. There's nothing wrong with that at all. We're just going to move on and just go through the stages because it's nothing particularly difficult, but I'll point out a few things that I'm thinking about, a few things that I'm looking at, and I don't know why I'm doing that. It's something I've just started doing, and no doubt I'll edit the video later and think, you are a cum stain of a man. Probably, I often feel that. Now, these are stainless steelers, so let's bring in Dave. Come on, Dave, you twat. You fat fuck. All we're going to do... Oh, feeling extra fucking angsty. I'm just going to snip these ends as close as I can get them. How we're going to do it is I'm going to show you one or two and then I'll blip through it. And that's how I'll get through this process, all right? But I will try and give you as much insight as exists in my inferior barnet. These are the Stumac nippers, by the way, and they get in pretty close to the fretboard. Not amazingly close, but they've got to protect the edge. Right, now we've done that, we're going to use our little fret end file. These are from Crimson. You can get them from anywhere if you want. Now, these are actually really good. I'm just going to gently... All right, we've just literally filed them flat. Now, these are stainless, so I want to use this file as much as I can. I'm going to put a bit of a bevel on. I have got a beveling file, a real cheap, shitty one, which is perfectly fine. I use them for finishing, but I'll do the most of it, the meaty part, with this one. Very gently, very controlled, because if you slip and you go over your frets, you could score them and mark them beyond repair. Ask me how I know. And we've got a bevel right up to the edge of the fret. Everything's looking lovely there. I'm happy with that. You can see my dark veneer that I put in so we can see what's going on. That's not a difficult process. I'll do the same for the other side, and I'll see you for the next stage. Right, out comes the trusty 120 grit. And all I'm going to do is just quickly blast up and down there. Plenty of hoovering in between, all right? Marvellous. Get yourself a Dario work mat. Lovely. Go and help yourselves. Treat yourself, slags. Now, we've done that bit. That's easy. We've got to do some levelling now. And that's the next stage. Now, this is a big chunk of wood. I haven't got to worry about it deflecting and bending. I can't fucking bend it. You can test it yourself. This process is on a new neck. I haven't carved it. It's a little bit different to if I was working on one that's already been carved, and we have to make some provisions. But we can just check there. That looks lovely and flat. I've got no queef of relief there. And in fact, you can test it. If I push down really fucking hard, I can barely, I can induce a bit of daylight, but hardly anything. And the beauty of the leveling beam is it's going to be bridging over most of that anyway. So you're not going to be putting force in the middle, and you're not going to be putting a lot of force. That's the most important thing. If you think there's a chance you might shit your pants, you might put a bit of extra support in there. I mean, there's no way you're going to be deflecting that at all. All right, again, it's different for a neck that's already carved because that's super flexible and super wobbly. Double check that it's flat. Pen up. I don't mask the fretboard up because I can fucking operate a pen without shaking myself down the stairs. Use one of these, look, if you're going to shit your pants. If you get red pen on the bare maple, there's a bit of a twat, isn't it? It's like when I get left at home with fucking face paints with my kids. Yep, I'm that dad. What an arsehole. When this is in front of me, I'm going to start at the end with the most frets because that's going to need a bit more pressure and a bit more work. And we want to stay away from the first fret. Kind of creates like a natural fall away, but it's not. But it's just most of the pressure is going to be down here. And all I'm going to do to start with, don't forget yesterday I tapped these, I got them close. But if you've got a low fret or a high fret, this is where we're going to sort it out. I'm going to go from left to right. And I'm only going to go as far as the first fret. I'm going to try and stay away from it. That first pass, you've got to look in the different light. I'm kissing most of those frets. I've got a low fret here on the 11th. So everything is basically got to come down to that 11th fret. The reason I don't go left to right and then right to left is because then you're basically passing over the middle twice, and I don't want to be doing that. I want to make sure I'm nice and even. Just touching that 11th fret. I'm touching everything, all right? That's exceptionally good. Sometimes you have got to take a little bit more and you think, I am fucking this up. Don't panic. You've got to touch every fret. You can't mess around. You're here to do a job. But what you can do then, just touching this pen, we can go around with our rocker. And already, teeny tiny rocker. So I've got a bit of a low, I've not taken the pen off that 5th fret, right there. And I've got a teeny rock. You can see I've flattened that fret. So we've got a bit of disparity between those two. So I'm going to go again. And I'm just going to double check. Now you've also got to bear in mind this is stainless steel fret wire, so you've got, sometimes it feels like you're doing a lot more than you would on a nickel fret because they are tougher. Now if you've done your job proper, you should be able to go all the way up the fretboard now and not even have a quim of a rock. My biggest problem on this entire board was a low fret on the 11th. That was what was causing me. But actually I still haven't taken that much off here. Now before I finish with the 240, I'm going to arduously go in line with the fret all the way off the edge. I want all my finished scratches to go in line with the frets, because if you have any going that way, you're going to feel them. It's going to be shit. Right, 240 finished. I'm going to do the same thing now with these two grits. So these are going to take hardly anything off. Now you can basically see where we got some flat frets, all right? Just some bits here and there. We've taken a little bit off, but that's all good. I'm happy with that. Stainless always seems like it's a lot more work than it is. Re-red up these tops. Now at this point, you could mask up your fretboard if you want, because you've done all the flattening stage. I always use the Music Nomad. It's got medium and wide. I'm always on the medium for this size Jescar. And because we've got that little safety line in the middle, we cannot fuck our fret up. And I'm just going to go until it's just scraping the pen off the top of that fret. You can feel where you need more work because you'll have more resistance on the file. It will sound different.
Two very boring minutes later.
Sorted. There's just traces of red pen on the top of these frets. It all looks a bit rough and ready at the minute, but that's fine. That has done its job. We didn't need to do much with that because you didn't actually take as much off the frets as you think you have. And because the profile in that matches Jescar just beautifully. Oh, bit out of breath. Now, at the minute, that's all a little bit rough and ready, all right? It's fucking hideous. Like Ed Gein's box of fannies. We're going to go through now. I'm just going to quickly kiss over the top of these. This is hardly taking anything. It's not affecting anything. We're just taking the pen off. All right, proper job. Now it's on to fret ends. The proper interesting bit. Fucking yawn away. I like to bung him up on my leveling beam. This is the StewMac fret end file. I absolutely adore this file. It's lovely. I'm going to use the flat edge at the bottom. Because these frets have got a pointy bit on them, I'm going to come through and I'm just literally, I'm going around and then I'm also rolling over the top. So it's 5 passes-ish. Don't count it, all right? But I'm literally going to go 1, 2, 3, and then roll over the top. Straight away I did 4 there, just to see if anyone was counting. So if you've already started commenting, sort your fucking life out. Right, so we've done that. When I turn the cameras off, I get to watch things. I've got that pedal show on. Live questions and answers. Now I've done that, I've rounded up the ends. I'm literally going to go up and down, just rough as rats with 120. All the way up and down. It's going to start the rolling process on the edge of the fretboard. Just start taking care of any more burrs on there. There's still a few, but nothing to worry about. Marvellous. And then I'm going to form it around my finger, make it nice and round, and I'm really going to get in there. And then I'm going to do the same with a bit of 320. Then I'm going to go with a really fine pad and I'm just going to give this a final touch up. Now at this stage, I'm going to address the fretboard. A bit of a hoover first. We're basically left with some lovely matte frets. They're all level, they're recrowned. Everything's looking pretty good. It's all pretty smooth. Phil's not going to fucking lather his tights on that one, are you, Phil? Oh my God, they're almost there. Oh. Bit of crispy 240. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to get in nice and tight. And I'm going to arduously sand this fretboard. Because there's a few little signs of some CA glue and bit of crap on there. This is one of those moments where I'll flick it on. We're pretty much sanded there. We're up to 320 across the grain on the fretboard. It's all lovely and smooth. You can do whatever you want with your super smooth sandpaper. I've got 3 strips. 3 strips. Yep, greedy cunt. 3 strips of sandpaper, a bit of 320. I'm going to come right over to the edge of my desk. I'm going to make an effort here and get a good shot. Right over to the edge of my desk. And I'm going to get that there, look. And I'm just going to ease that edge. I want to make sure it's nice and even. Take your time. Lovely. And we're rolling that edge. If you go on the edge of your fret, it's not going to matter either. Doesn't really matter. You can go all the way up. I just want it to look nice and even. Every stage just taking burrs off. Right over there? Now, if you've got posh ball end frets, you can do this at home on your own. But this is where the smaller bits of sandpaper come in because, a bit of logic, we want to get in between. All right, so on the edge of your bench, you can stay away from your fret if you want. If your guitar is pre-finished and you're doing this to an old one and you've got glossy necks, then when you do this, don't go on the fretboard and on the neck. Just stay off a little bit and just ease that corner. You can always wipe a bit of smeg on there or a bit of oil, a bit of Mazzola, whatever you want. Rub a fucking banana skin on there if you want. Lovely. We've got a rolled fretboard there. It's just adding comfort. It's adding years. I know no one likes a relic, but the feel of a relic, the feel of a worn-in fretboard, got a camera coming out of my ball bag, then yeah, that's all good, isn't it? So I'm going to do the other side now, and then I'm going to initially fretalize, just initially. Bit of housekeeping. This is how it works. We move cameras around. We put them over. It's hell of a fucking technical. I'm just a dickhead in his workshop. Just remember that. I've got my fretalizer out. If you haven't got one of these, where have you been? Amazing tool. Best tool I've found. Got the 1500 on there, which is the first stage. And all I'm going to do, and at this stage, I am going to use a protector because I think you should. I'm just going to initially go up and down my frets. It's the only time I'm going to use this for a minute because I'm going to fretalize properly after I've finished. But I just want to get these all nice and uniform. Back in the 70s, you were allowed to fancy things in uniform. It's all gone a little bit awry now. Maybe a nurse's uniform. I don't mean your fucking carer, Trevor. All right, you can't touch him. All the way up, I'm going to get 1500s. I'm going to be happy with my fret ends. Smoother than Mrs. Richards' ass cheeks when she shaved them. And then I'm going to carve this neck off camera. You're not going to see that in this video. I'm going to save that. And then what we'll do, we will come back, we'll flash back, and we'll see how we're getting on and maybe start some body routes. That is sexy. I know it's sexy because I fucking planned it.
Missionary. Bored. Turn around. Let me see your ass. Let me see your ass.
Sorry.
Sorry. Don't apologise. Jesus Christ. Boring. Turn around, love. Let me see that ass. Not even the ass. I like the arnoose. I don't like the ass. I like the arnoose. The eye of mystery. Right down her neck.
Saved by the bell.